When Susan first approached me with this idea of doing a collaborative piece with coral reefs, we started discussing how can we fit science and language arts together, and it really just kind of all fell together.
We had an article from a Geography Spin magazine that students could read. We had a short video clip, and we felt that once looking at this and going through a few language arts strategies of marking the text, students would gain then the scientific background of why coral reefs are important, and they're the rainforest of our under the sea.
Together we looked at the article, and then we said, how can we use this information to not only teach them the importance of coral reefs and the importance of saving our coral reefs, but also how can they learn to pull out key pieces of information from a reading article and cite that information from the text that they just read.
Yeah, we read the text orally, they marked it, we talked about different vocabulary that they were familiar with, unfamiliar with.
I did clarify for them what coral reefs were. We had a discussion about what lives in a coral reef and all of the positive things that coral reefs bring to living things in the ocean, as well as I prompted the students to think about, are coral reefs important to us as well, and not only fish in the sea or things that they may be thinking of.
So after reading the article, we did a little bit of a think, pair, share, where students pulled some ideas out of how they had to come up with a graphic organizer depending on whether they thought positive, negative, main ideas, details, however they wanted to construct their organizing notes from the information that we read. They had to cite the text of where they got it, whether it would have been underlining in the article and then note-taking, putting it in their own words and sharing it with their partner.
I loved watching the students do the think, pair, share activity, because walking around the room I noticed many students that were paired together had different thoughts on how to categorize their ideas. Some of them wanted to do positive and negatives, some wanted to do pros and cons, so the students were forced to work together and say, after reading this article and after understanding the key vocabulary terms, what would be the best way to put this in a graphic organizer, and the students had to agree that, okay, we're going to do pros and cons together and list them out.
Exactly. They had to defend their point of view on where they thought things should go or why they thought it should categorize in a certain way. Finally, we went into summarizing the activity where they used their notes, and this then became an individual exercise of where they took their information to summarize their thoughts. They had to have a topic sentence, they had to give their belief, they had to cite evidence, and then conclude their entire summary and bring it back to the beginning of why coral reefs are important.
So throughout this process, I feel that some of the skills that the students acquired, especially citing textual evidence, summarizing their thoughts, using key vocabulary terms to piece together a graphic organizer. I thought it was quite interesting how the kids could relate the science behind coral reefs and how important they are to humans, as well as the skills they need to summarize information after reading a passage, citing their information. It was important for the students to say that I found this passage here and this is why I feel this is important. So I think it kind of all fell together very nicely with the students being paired up, and the students were collaborating together as well.
So when we collaborate again, we have a basic foundation of where we can build and how we can make this better. I think an integral part would be then for Ms. Harris and I to have our classes come back together and share their summaries, maybe critique, peer edit on what students felt were strong points, how they could improve their own writing for future use on other classwork, standardized testing, and their career in school, because citing the evidence is not going to go away.